Okay, it's 11 a.m. Arizona time on Saturday, September the 4th, 2021. And I'm going to take it off screen share here. Hello, my name is Jay Carpenter. I'm founder of Desert Blockchain and Desert Blockchain Camps. And this is our Saturday session for StellarRed, as well as the Applied Research Centers program that's being run by the Arizona Commerce Authority. And here's how the session is going to go. For about an hour, we're going to be looking at StellarRed with Shane Sandler of CryptoCannoneer, and he's going to be talking about how he's interested in participating in the Arizona Blockchain Applied Research Centers program and possibly Wearables portion. And he's also going to be talking about the platform that he's created called StellarRed. He's going to be demonstrating the CryptoCannoneer, which is a really cool project that's won a hackathon for the Stellar community. And he's going to show you how you can play the target game, CryptoCannoneer, which can be played virtually. And then from 12 noon until 1 o'clock, we're going to have lunch. So we're going to be kind of on break, but stay tuned on the live stream. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to go over a presentation on the Arizona Blockchain Applied Research Centers and Wearables program, which totals $5 million in combination, 2.5 million for blockchain, 2.5 million for wearables. And then there's an additional 500,000 remaining from the 2019 for blockchain projects. We're going to be talking about that at 1 o'clock. And I will be going over a presentation on some of the people that are interested in participating. We might have some of those people join in and talk about they're interested in participating. You can consider how you might be able to participate, especially if you're a software developer or you have skills in the makerspace with IoT and doing things like Shane's going to be demonstrating. So that's how this session is going to work. We have these sessions every Saturday now, between now and the end of October. And the idea is that we're bringing the community together here in Arizona to create teams to make applications for this matching funding so that we can create some synergy for innovation in Arizona around blockchain as well as wearables and some other things. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Shane Sandler. And Shane, go ahead and take it away and show us a little bit about StellarRed, CryptoCannoneer, and your interest in the Arizona Applied Research Centers, blockchain, and wearables matching funds. Go ahead, Shane.
Thank you, Jay. Welcome. I am Blockchaingerous. I'm going to give you a quick demo of my game and how it relates to the ARC funding, and then we will dive into some of the StellarRed stuff. So this is the main live stream, as you can see. So the game, it's a live stream turret cannon type situation where you can fire tennis balls. So go ahead and arm it, and we're going to blast a tennis ball on out. There it goes. And it should reload. You should be seeing it right here in just a moment. There it goes. There, it's mostly reloaded. It gets a little bit stuck sometimes. The reloader is still a prototype. You can also shoot water. There's a second cannon over here. If you come on over to the water cannon bot, and that is what you see in the bottom left here. And this similarly can be aimed. You know, you can move it all around while you're spraying water. And then we can go back to the main cannon. And I'm going to actually attempt to reload it and see if it seals a little bit better. Still having a few little quirks with that. Give me one moment. sure the next shot comes out good. We'll go ahead and arm and fire it. And there we go. Wow, that one had some pep. Okay, so how this relates to ARC. So what I really want to do is sort of turn this into a full carnival type of experience slash sort of like a Comic-Con or even like a barcade type of situation. And so the ARC funding is for blockchain and wearables. And so I really want to develop basically a hardware wallet that uses near field communication so that you could pay for all sorts of games like you're in an arcade, or you could use it as a point of sale to pay for merchandise or food and drink. All sorts of applications there. So, and that could be like a wearable, like NFC bracelet, or it could just be on your phone. So that's sort of how this can integrate into the blockchain and wearables ARC funding. And my background in history is actually in live events. I've worked, a lot of Comic-Cons and concerts and music festivals. And so I think there's a lot of potential here to really help that space, partly just due to transaction fees, credit cards, fees keep going up. Even, Venmo isn't free anymore. And especially for like microtransactions and small things like this, they just wouldn't really work with credit cards because there's usually a 50-cent minimum fee. So, anything less than a few dollars, you're just getting destroyed by fees. So microtransactions and cryptocurrency really work well together. And I think that there's a lot of potential there for making it easy by using like a near field communication type of hardware wallet, so that you can just really quickly sign transactions just with proximity and that NFC technology. Stellar is like an ideal blockchain for this because you could pay with any asset. Stellar is really great because it has a integrated decentralized exchange, and you can do cross asset swaps within the Stellar network extremely easily. So let's say somebody is mostly holding USD coin or lumens, and you want to get paid in your native token or Stellar wrapped Bitcoin or whatever currency you want to accept. It's super easy for them to do a path payment transaction that just uses the on-chain order book and all the liquidity there to convert right over to the asset that you want to receive at the best rate available. So a lot of potential there for using Stellar in live events and as a point of sale for merchandise and food and all sorts of things. So I'm very excited about trying to integrate more of that into my whole ecosystem here. And I'm also applying for the Stellar Community Fund, which is a Stellar sponsored funding opportunity that they're giving away over $1 million. So I will talk about that a little bit more at the end. But for now, let's get into the NFTs and StellarRed demo. I'm going to go seal that real quick in case anybody wants to fire. The cannon will be available for this whole stream and most of today. All right, and that's sealed up. So if anybody wants to shoot tennis balls, all they have to do is arm it and fire it. And the water cannon is available as well. Okay, so let's dive into some NFT stuff and some Stellar stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you here. Screen share. All right, let's get out of this Zoom situation. And we don't need to see the Telegram chat anymore. Okay, so where to begin with this? So last week, we actually talked a fair amount about some of the current options for NFTs on Stellar, and the primary one being Lightmint. Lightmint is definitely the #1 marketplace for Stellar NFTs right now, and it's a pretty great situation. It's got a great UI. Last week, we went through the whole process of creating an NFT here on Lightmint, and it's really cheap. Another one of the reasons why I am super into Stellar. Lightmint right here is always pushing, the costs of creating NFTs on Stellar. This is so much more affordable than a lot of the other chains out there. And once again, just like I was talking about with the applications for utilizing the Stellar network and the decentralized exchange and path payments, all of that applies to NFTs as well. So you can sell your NFTs for any asset on the Stellar network. That could be USDC, that could be lumens, that could be tokenized stocks, anything that's available on Stellar. you can use to buy and sell NFTs. So super, super functional and interesting. And I just think that there's a lot of untapped potential still for Stellar NFTs. The NFT frameworks on Stellar are still really new, and these marketplaces are still really new. So things are still being developed. And so, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on in Stellar NFT world and with Lightmint, and they're still in beta, and they're improving their projects or the product every day. But there's a few qualms I have with the platform. And so that's a large portion of why I built some of the StellarRed functionality that I've built. This is the UI here for StellarRed. So if you want to get more familiar with Lightmint and some of the available options for Stellar NFTs, I recommend you watching last week's stream or check out some of the demos that Lightmint has put out. They're awesome. Okay, so anyways, diving into NFTs on StellarRed. So this is like the back end for how Node-RED looks. If you're not familiar with Node-RED, this might look a little bit bizarre, but it is nice just to look at it as sort of like a flow diagram. So I can actually go over to the simpler version of the NFT multi-maker right here. This isn't the part that you interact with. This is the back end. So anyways, real quick, if you don't know how to get set up with StellarRed and you aren't familiar with Node-RED at all, I recommend you go onto my website and you can check out StellarRed and Red Horizon. I did a demo about 6 weeks back on how to set up a new Raspberry Pi with StellarRed totally from scratch. So that is a great resource if you're having trouble, or you can follow along with this guide right here, getting started with StellarRed. So I'm not going to go through all of that today, but if you're unfamiliar with Node-RED and StellarRed, these are some great resources for getting all started. Basically, you just have to get Node-RED set up, and then you have to add 2 lines of code to your settings file of Node-RED and make sure the relevant packages are installed. One thing that I did discover this week was that Node Fetch has been updated, and the new 3.0 version of Node Fetch does not work with this setup. So if you're getting started fresh, you have to make sure you install the older version of Node Fetch. Version 2.6.1 is the highest version before they switched to 3.0. So getting back into the StellarRed back end and front end. So what we're going to end up doing here for creating NFTs, one thing that I talked about last week, that one of my problems with Lightmint NFTs is that when you create more than one, they're not actually unique. They are essentially just the same asset, and they are essentially fractionalized, and that is not what I think true NFTs require. You don't have any difference between the first edition and the 32nd edition. So that is one thing that my NFT framework solves. So here we go. Here is some NFTs that I just minted this morning, testing everything. And so as you can see, each of my coins NFTs are actually different. They're labeled with a different number. They're actually different assets on the Stellar network. They are unique. They are identifiably different. And that is what I think is necessary for NFTs to really be NFTs. So the way that I do that, and my framework here in Node-RED, is basically it creates a new token for every NFT. So what is sort of commonly accepted right now as the NFT framework on Stellar is that you create a new account, and this is going to be your issuing account for your assets. If you aren't familiar with Stellar smart contracts and accounts and how information is arranged in Stellar, there is another stream that we did, I believe 3 weeks ago, going through the basics of token creation and trust lines and issuing and distributing accounts on Stellar. There's also a ton of great information out there about just sort of the basics of creating tokens on Stellar that goes through all of that. And so if you're not familiar with that, I recommend looking into it. So the commonly accepted Stellar NFT framework right now is to create a new account and then set up the data entry from that account, and then issue the NFTs from that account. So whenever you look at an NFT on Stellar, you can go to the issuing account and find the relevant information. So if it's just like an image NFT, you will likely find an IPFS SID or even a link to the IPFS information. Lightmint handles all that backend stuff for you, so you don't have to mess with it, but we're going to be going through how to mess with it essentially. I just want to make sure I've got the right mic on here. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So what we have going on is that we have minted 6 different NFTs here, all under the same account and all with the same IPFS data associated with it. So I'm going to dive into the IPFS backend a little bit here, and hopefully I don't lose you, or if you're not interested in the IPFS stuff, that is okay. So one thing about the reason that I have this base 64 written here is that when you put data entries into the Stellar network, it converts them to base 64. So if you actually want to get the like a usable SID, you have to take it into a base 64 decoder, and then you can decode it. And so this is the actual IPFS SID. And then there's a few different ways to access IPFS. You can use ipfs.io/IPFS and then put the SID in, and that'll get you to the information. Or you can use the Pinata gateway, assuming that they are hosted on Pinata, and that's gateway.pinata.cloud/IPFS. And then there's the SID. So that is how you can basically look at an NFT on Stellar and find the actual file that's associated with it, assuming the file is hosted on IPFS. So we will go through the backend on how to actually do that once we get into actual minting here, just kind of giving you the rundown. So that is how the IPFS side of the data is handled on the Stellar network. And then as far as the actual minting process goes for these NFTs, the way that this Node-RED flow works is that when you click the Create NFTs button on the UI here, basically it sets up a new key pair. And then in order to create tokens on the Stellar network, a separate account, which is the original account, I'm calling it the origin account, adds trust to the new issuing account that was just created. The issuing account sends the new NFT tokens to your origin account. And then here is where I've created the countdown to actually create unique tokens instead of all just minting whatever quantity you put in as the same token. So this counts down and appends the token number to the asset name. And then it just goes through this for however many quantity you've listed that you want. And then once it gets down to 0, so this is your countdown checker. If it's not 0, it's going through this top, and then it's using this function here to basically enumerate the count, and then it's going back and adding more tokens until it gets down to 0. And then once it's done creating all those NFTs, it actually goes ahead and sets up the account data and the domain and signs the transaction. And so right here, I have listed that it's a bug, but really it's just an unfinished feature. So on Stellar, the Stellar blocks can hold 100 transactions, 50 transactions per block, and each transaction can have 100 operations. So since this is essentially 3 operations per NFT, that means a max of about 33 per a single transaction. But there are a few other operations in there between setting up the data and signing and actually doing the signing and stuff. So you're limited to 31 NFTs per transaction using this methodology. So I need to expand this feature out. So if you wanted to mint, say, 100 of these NFTs, then it would just need to basically do it in 3 separate transactions. So totally possible. I just haven't built out that feature yet. And so this is actually carrying over from the other version that also sets up a sell order automatically for you. So this version could actually mint almost 50 since it's only 2 operations, but primarily I use this No, not this one, this one. I primarily use this one that actually sets up sell offers immediately for me on the Stellar decentralized exchange. And so that makes it 3 operations per NFT. So that kind of shows you the back end of how this works. So let's get into the front end and actually do it. So if you're not familiar with Node-RED, once again, in order to access your dashboard UI, you copy your IP address for wherever your Node-RED instance is running, because it's not running on this machine. It's actually running on a Raspberry Pi. And then you just add /UI. So let me go ahead and just get back to the beginning here. So if you put in your IP where you've got your StellarRed hosted, let me show you that real quick, just in case you are unfamiliar. When you go into StellarRed and Red Horizon, or even here getting started, you go to this flow. This is where the flow is hosted on Node-RED's library, and you just copy the flow here, and you would import it into Node-RED. Sorry, just reviewing some of this in case people don't know. So you would paste that in there and you would import it and it would bring in all the flows. I'm not going to do that right now, but that is how you would get basically all of these tabs on flows populated. So once you've got that deployed and running, you go into the UI. When you land on the first UI, so this flow is pretty robust. There's quite a few things going on. So this is just a general wallet interface for interacting with Stellar. I use it all the time. It's super helpful, especially when you're interacting with testnet for checking balances and sending transactions, making offers on the Stellar decentralized exchange, all the basic things that you might want to do with a standard wallet interface. For example, I'll show you a quick demo. This is the account that I just used to create those NFTs this morning. We'll go ahead and put that in and check some balances. So it is finding, it looks like it only found the lumens. So that might need an update on how that's displaying information. But anyways, we will dive into the NFT creator. So if you come over here to this tab, you get over to the token creator, and these are all my different token creation methodologies. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that compressor real quick so that we don't have to listen to it. Remote control. Wi-Fi IoT, that's what a lot of this project runs on. Okay, so getting into how to actually mint an NFT with StellarRed. So the first thing you're going to want, if you don't have a testnet account on Stellar, is you want to come over here to the account generator, generate a new key pair. I need to create a way to sort of store these. I typically just store them in a notepad right here. But anyways, so here's our new account. So you should be able to copy and paste this address here and see your new account. Stellar Expert has been running a little bit slow on testnet. There aren't nearly as many resources running Stellar testnet as Stellar mainnet, but it looks like it popped up immediately. So that's cool. So this is that new account, Stellar account we just created, and it's been funded by the Stellar testnet friend bot lumens faucet. So we got 10,000 test lumens in there, and we will go ahead and use this account to mint some new NFTs on testnet. So we'll go back over to our StellarRed UI here. We'll come over to the token creator. And so this is just to create a regular Stellar token. This is to create just a simple Stellar NFT. And then this is for this multi-maker is for creating multiple versions of the same NFT. So if you want like a first edition and a second, third, however many editions you want to make, but still having them all be unique. This one actually sets up sell orders as well, and the no sell orders does not. One thing I forgot to mention, I think earlier, was that both of these will lock the issuing account. So just to let you know, once you use these, that issuing account will be locked and you won't be able to make any more. So if you don't want that feature, that lock feature, you're gonna have to go into here and modify the code there to remove this master weight change. Anyways, going back over here. So the one that I used this morning was actually the sell version, I think. Let's take a look at here if the active offers exist. No active offers. Oh, that's because it actually, perfect. So this didn't actually fail. When I pulled up that balance here, that is all the balances in this issuing account. So this is the account that issued the NFTs, and then it sent them back. It sent them over to the origin account that is required to mint tokens. So you see it transferred all of these NFTs over to the origin account here, and that's where all these NFTs are residing. So if we take that origin account and we put it into the check balances of the StellarRed UI, now we can see all those NFTs. Great. So coins NFT, it shows the balances, which in order for an asset to be non-fractional, non-divisible, or indivisible on Stellar, it has to be one stroop, which is 0.0000001 of that asset. That's just the Stellar limit for how much you can divide up a Stellar asset. So the NFT framework that's currently accepted on Stellar is to just create to mint a single stroop of an asset, and that's how NFTs are working. Anyways, so going back into so the reason why I wanted to bring that up was because I wanted to show that these were offered to be sold. So it established the trust line, and then if we go to active offers, you can see that each of these NFTs is for sale. Unfortunately, the pricing gets kind of weird when you are only selling a single stroop instead of like one solid version of that asset. So for example, this NFT, let's take the first edition here, it's being offered for 200,000 XLM per the 0.000, the single stroop of that NFT. But since that actually represents one version of that NFT, you can take your 200,000, divide it by, or I guess multiply it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20. So that's actually being offered for 20 XLM per 1 unit of the NFT. And then, for example, the 0th edition, which I just find an interesting thing, is being offered for 80 lumens per 1 unit of the NFT. And so that is just set up here. As you can see, that's just how I have the basic setup of the sell order on this NFT multi-maker setup. So as you can see here, this first sell is the price that you indicated times 40. And that's just sort of arbitrarily decided by me as creating too many tabs, as just creating different pricing for the different versions of the NFTs. So you put in your base price, and then it just keeps going up as you get to your second edition, your first edition, and your 0th edition. There is this other quirk about minting NFTs on Stellar, is that the limit for what price you can ask for NFTs is basically 214 point yada yada yada. It's basically the integer limit for pricing on the Stellar decentralized exchange. So if you wanted to sell your single NFT for more than 214 lumens, you kind of have to do a workaround where you use a larger asset or like a single token asset that can represent, and basically you can use path payment to sell things for more than 214 of that asset for a single stroop of your NFT asset. So a little bit complex. That's why, we're building out front ends and marketplaces that just kind of handle all that back end complexity for you, so that most people don't want to deal with all of that stuff, that minutia in the code. Okay, so basically with that in mind, you can't list your max price here is 5 based on just how my pricing ramps up as you get into the higher priced assets. So we will go ahead and actually mint an NFT now. So we'll go back to the token creator. Actually, I guess we should go to our account generator, grab our secret key that we just created. We'll go to the token creator, put in the secret key. Let's see, we'll call our new NFT test NFT. Oh, another limitation here is that if you're using 2 digits for your appending of the numbers onto the NFTs, is that your NFT name has to be limited to 10 characters, because assets on Stellar are limited to 12 characters. So test NFT, 7 characters plus 2 number characters. We're at 9, good to go. Okay, let's get down to the IPFS here. So I like to use Pinata for posting images to IPFS. And so you would just log into your Pinata, upload a file, and pretty straightforward there. I just uploaded this coins image that we worked with last week. This is a free open source image from the Smithsonian that is totally free for commercial use. And so once you have uploaded to Pinata, you can get your SID right here. And that is what is commonly accepted as what you should be putting in as your data here for your Stellar NFT, is the SID for your IPFS. Let's go back to the issuing account here. We'll go to the NFT, we'll go to the issuing account. And so that is what is represented by this base 64 string, is your IPFS SID. So you can always find that image right here on IPFS. So we have now uploaded our IPFS image. And when I create my actual NFT marketplace, this will all be handled in the back end. You won't have to interact with any of this. But and Lightmint already handles that for you. So that makes it a little bit easier than having to deal with the IPFS backend. This home domain is once it's going to be needed once you actually host your TOML file, which is another thing we've talked about Stellar before. Let's see if I can spell blockchangers.com. So once you actually want your NFTs to be searchable on the Stellar decentralized exchange, you're going to have to host a TOML file for them that will host all the metadata and things like that people will need to make your asset actually findable. And so that is what this is associated with. Let's say we want to go ahead and mint 5 of these. And so we'll start. So this sell price is actually asking about the base sell price. For the way that it's just arbitrarily set up right now is that assets 3 and beyond are all listed for the same price. And then the second edition, first edition, and 0th edition are exponentially more expensive. So that's why your max price is 5. Let's just call it 1. And eventually I will add in the ability to sell for assets other than lumens. But for now, you can only mint them with a sell price in lumens. If you choose to use the no sell version of this NFT minting tool, then you can create all your own sell orders for any asset you want afterwards. That won't matter that your issuing account is locked, because all those assets will be in possession of your origin account. And then you can use your origin account to set up sell offers at whatever price and whatever asset you want. And then you can switch this over to public net, but I have had a few bugs on public net. Fortunately, when something fails, you've only wasted fractions of pennies in Stellar fees instead of wasting potentially hundreds of dollars in gas on some other networks. But there are a few bugs, so be warned if you're going to try to use this on public net. It really isn't ready yet. So we will go ahead and hit create NFTs. This is sort of a slow process. I need to optimize my code here. As you can see there, it's going through minting each one. We're on second edition, first edition, and the 0 edition, which I'll probably make it an option to turn off 0 edition if that's not something you want. I just think that they're cool. Now it's submitting that batch transaction to Stellar, and there we go, success. So we can go ahead and grab that link there and check it out. I need to make it so you don't have to delete success there. I would really love to make those links clickable. I'm not totally sure how yet. So we'll go ahead and put that in, and boom, there we go. So this is the new account that was created by our origin account. It was funded with 1.5 lumens. All of these NFTs were issued. They were all sent to the origin account, and then the data was updated and the account was locked. So we can see all of that in the, we go to the operation. So we can see everything that happened in that transaction that we just submitted. There was 21 total operations. And so here we go. It started by creating that new key pair. It established the trust line for the 5th edition and sent it over, and went through and did that all the way to the 0 edition. And then it managed the data. It set the IPFS SID. It set the home domain and locked the account. There you go. That's everything that that transaction just did, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. So now if we go and take a look at our origin account, which is that account that we created here when we created that new Stellar account right at the beginning, we can put that in, take a look at the origin account, and there's all of our NFTs that we have. Wonderful. And you can see that they are for sale. They are available right here. And another feature, so one thing that's really nice about Lightmint is that you don't have to mint your NFTs on Lightmint. You can take those NFTs that we just minted using StellarRed, and we can import them into the Lightmint UI and NFT marketplace here, and they can be living right alongside NFTs that were minted using Lightmint. Trying to remember what NFTs I have on Lightmint. Oh, I can go to my website. That's probably the easiest way. We'll go to nft.blockchangers.com. And you can see here, and I've showed this in previous demos, but I'll just wait for this to load. You can see here that this StellarRed logo, and I can search it. That's what I needed. That was red logo. Well, is that not what it's called? Let's see. That's not what the asset's called. The asset is actually called StellarRed. So we'll put in StellarRed. Oh, we did that. Oh, I guess it's because they have numbers on them. There we go. So these are all NFTs that I minted using StellarRed. That's why they're actually unique and they have numbers behind them as opposed to the Lightmint protocol that does not. They would all be in one. I do hope that soon Lightmint will incorporate this in so that all of these will get combined into a single, like basically a single sales page, and then like a little drop down that you can pick which edition you want to look at, because that's just sort of the standard on other NFT marketplaces. But for now, each version, each edition of this NFT has its own page until that gets updated. And you can see, so it looks like it's not necessarily updating with the live offers yet, because Lightmint is handling offers on their own. So they have their own custom backend for handling some of those pricing limitations on the Stellar decks. So it looks like it hasn't updated that it has my sale price in there. But you can see, if you go to the Stellar Explorer, you can see that it is for sale. Well, you should be able to at least. Let's see. People establishing trust lines and doing things like that. I guess when you want to see active offers, you have to actually go to the account that's holding it. So you can go to asset holders here. This is the account that's holding it. And this is, well, actually someone bought this one. So maybe that's why there's no active offer on that one. Someone else has that one. Not me anymore. So that's cool. Thanks, whoever bought that. Let's see if any of these others are for sale still. Let's go to the second edition. Well, it says none of these are for sale. So maybe they've all been bought. That's super cool. I haven't checked that in a while. People buying my NFTs. Nice. Let's see if this one is for sale. Who owns this one? Asset holders. Someone owns this one. This is someone else as well. Cool. There's some NFT collectors grabbing up my stuff. Nice. Anyways, so maybe some of these, maybe the for sale offers will be shown. I'm not totally sure. Be careful while you're out there. That gun is live. Okay, so that is the basics of minting an NFT using StellarRed. It won't be searchable on something like Lobster or some other Stellar Decentralized Exchange Explorer until you get your TOML file hosted. And if you know anything about TOMLs, you might be thinking, oh no, that's going to be a total nightmare because every one of these assets has to have its own currency section. Fortunately, I am developing a TOML generator to deal with that. It's not done yet. It definitely has a few quirks, but let me show you where it's at because it basically it generates all the text you need. It just doesn't generate the formatting you need. So you still have to do a little bit of work with the formatting to get it to be ready to actually be uploaded. So let's go back here to our token creator. So our asset name is test NFT. If we go over to our TOML generator, we can do test NFT. I guess this will be easier if I just actually pull up. Sorry, I'm getting lost in all my tabs here. I need to reduce my tabs, but we're just going to keep trucking on. So we'll go back to the issuing account here. All right, so that's our issuer. Go back over to our TOML generator. Put in your issuing account. Decimals is 7. That's definitely going to be what you want for any NFT. No, this isn't anchored, so that'll be false. The name, so you can name it whatever you want. It can have as many characters as you want. So let's call it just, oh, someone's playing. Oh, Jay's back there, fire and water. We'll call it test NFT, StellarRed demo. The description, this is a demo NFT for StellarRed. Conditions, so since the account is locked, you can definitely say that no more will ever be minted. And so the image, so this is what's going to actually show up on like Stellar Expert. And this is what any Stellar Explorer that utilizes your TOML file will actually show as the image. So whether it's Lobster or Stellar Term or whatever, you want to put the actual link to your image here. So you can do that using, an IPFS link, or you can host your image somewhere else if you want to make it more of a traditional link. Both work. So I typically just use my IPFS data. And so I'll just put that link in there. And then the quantity is actually 6 since we minted 5 editions plus the 0 edition and generate TOML. Or actually, I think we should have put 5 there because this TOML generator also utilizes the 0 edition because that's what I'm doing. So as you can see here, if you're familiar with TOML files, this is generating out all your currency sections. So for example, for the 3rd edition here, you see currencies, code, test NFT 3. That needs to add the 0 there, I believe, because the way it was actually minted is it is a 0.3. Yeah. So I've got a little bug there. Need to get that turned into a test NFT 0.3. Issuer, display decimals, is asset anchored false, name test. StellarRed demo. It looks like I dropped an E there. This is demo, blah, blah, blah. And basically just generates out all those currency sections that you need for each of your NFTs that you can host in your TOML file. As an example of this, we can take a look at nft.blockchangers.com /known/stellar.toml. This is the actual TOML file. I think there's supposed to be a dot there. Dot well known. There it is. So this is the actual TOML file on my NFT website. So as you can see, there's all these currency sections for all of my NFTs. So this section here, I obviously didn't type out all 30 of these currency sections for my Cannoneer NFTs. These were all generated using my TOML generator, and then I had to reformat them a little bit. but still way faster than having to type out all these things out and incrementing or decreasing the number addendums here. So that the TOML generates basically a full currency section that you can just copy and paste into your TOML once I get sort of those formatting issues figured out. So that is all you have to do to use StellarRed to mint an NFT on Stellar. And like I've said, I have used it on mainnet. All you have to do is hit public there, but there are a few bugs. The number one bug I've been having on mainnet was it seemed to be an issue with trying to use the newly created account to generate the NFTs, but the newly created account hadn't been funded yet since it was all built into one transaction. So I'm not sure if I need to change my methodology to create the account in a single transaction and then mint all the NFTs in a second transaction. So I need to work out some of the kinks there. But if you do choose to use it on public mainnet, do know that you might waste all of your transaction fees if it fails, which, you know, if you're trying to mint 30 NFTs, that's, you know, about 30 stroops worth of, or I guess it would be 300. It's fractions of a penny. It's not a large amount of money at all, but just wanted to give you that warning. Great, so that is a quick demo. Well, not super quick, but that is a demo on how to use StellarRed to mint your own NFTs on Stellar that are unique, and you know they can be for sale. And as you can see, some of mine have even sold, which is pretty cool. And so I wanted to use this to transition to talking about the Stellar funding opportunity that StellarRed and CryptoCannoneer and this whole project ecosystem is a part of, which is called the Stellar Community Fund. So the Stellar Community Fund is a super cool program that Stellar puts out. So basically every year, Stellar through 4 rounds, so it's once every quarter, every 3 months. So over the whole year, Stellar offers 12 million lumens to people that are building on Stellar. And lumens have been floating around 30-ish, 33. I think right now it's 37 cents. So 12 million per year for every quarter, every 3 months. So it's 4 SCF rounds per year, which is 3 million lumens, which is over $1 million right now, which is super cool. And they're still updating how they do the funding. But basically the way they're doing it in this round is they're taking that, you know, $1.2 million and funding as many people as they can. So you go into the current round, public, basically the way that the Stellar Community Fund rounds work is that submission ended a couple weeks ago, and then there was a judging panel selection last week, and community discussion is just open, so you can give projects feedback and they can adjust and edit their projects until the community discussion deadline ends. So we've got about 8 days left, a little over a week, to continue to update and tweak our projects from the feedback we're getting from the community. And then voting will begin September 13th, and that runs for about 2 weeks. And then I think they've got a week or two to finalize judging, and they're going to fund as many projects as they can until they run out of their 3 million lumens allotted for this round. So please take a look at this community fund on Stellar. It's amazing. Even if you're not looking at my projects, there are incredible projects that are being built in here. And some of them absolutely deserve to be funded and are going to be incredible. So I'm not sure why these thumbnails aren't loading at the moment, but you can see here CryptoCannoneer is in here. This is my smaller ask. I'm asking for $5 grand just to keep refining CryptoCannoneer and working on some of the really immediate concerns for CryptoCannoneer between the app development and just refining things and making things better. And then, so what we've been talking about today is more focused obviously on StellarRed, which that is what my bigger ask, my $15,000 funding request is about. So this is for my whole ecosystem. So, and that includes StellarRed and Red Horizon, which is what we've been talking about today. So please, if you have time, take a look at this, join the Discord group, and please give me some feedback if you have things that you can recommend. So this goes into a lot more of what I've been talking about and how this relates to the ARC funding as well. the ARC funding for blockchain and wearables that we've got going on here specifically in Arizona. So this goes into a lot of the bigger ecosystem that I want to build. So CryptoCannoneer is just one game in what I want, this sort of whole carnival, cryptocurrency Stellar powered carnival that I want to build. And that will hopefully include, like a restaurant and barcade, and just really be a fun place to come hang out and enjoy yourself. And that includes more of the ecosystem that includes my NFT marketplace. This includes StellarRed, which I want to keep StellarRed totally open source and just use it as a tool for the Stellar development community, and so that people can build NFTs and build their own projects. And Red Horizon is the front end for StellarRed, which is that wallet UI. It's the TOML generator, the NFT generators. There's actually a lot more going on here in StellarRed. There's a price checker that just connects to the Kraken API just to get current prices. There you go. Stellar is sitting right under 37 cents at the moment. I'm working on developing a trade bot that can allow for advanced order types and basically like range trading on the Stellar decentralized exchange. I'm working on royalty, which royalty is basically my royalty enforcer for NFTs on Stellar. Like I've said in past streams, like Lightmint and stuff doesn't have any true way to enforce royalties. It's super easy to just pull them off the NFT marketplace and sell them on your own on the Stellar decentralized exchange and subvert royalties, which a major component of the CryptoCannoneer business model is NFT royalties. So I have to get those really locked in and enforced. I'm also working on like an index token generator so that people could build their own indexes on Stellar so that they could, batch whatever assets they like to trade the most. So there's all sorts of things going on in the back end for StellarRed, and I hope to release all those tools to the community soon. They're just not production ready yet. And let me go back to the overall ecosystem. So yeah, StellarRed and Red Horizon is a hugely useful tool, especially for non-coders who want to use Node-RED and they want to use a low-code interface. Royalty, as I mentioned, is an NFT framework. And then, like I've said, a lot of times, like I want these games to be educational. I really want to help teach people about NFTs and market cap, all sorts of cryptocurrency and DeFi concepts. And, it's got to be gamified and fun. There's tons of resources out there for people to read up on the complexities of financial models and inflationary versus deflationary tokens and NFTs. But it's very heady, it's complex, it's not engaging. And so that's why I want to gamify it. People like Coinbase Learn and Earn, even if you're only getting $1 for, learning about some new token, it's great. And so people want that type of being paid for their time and learning. And I think that gamified education is going to be huge. And so I really want to keep these games educational. And then Learn and Earn is really popular in like the blockchain gaming scene, not Learn and Earn, Play to Earn. It's sort of the exact opposite of like a pay to win type of game that is like really plaguing, I think, the free to play gaming community. Instead of doing pay to win, it's sort of the exact opposite. You get paid to play. And this is like a really huge concept for third world countries and people who can live off of $1 to $5 a day. If they can earn $1 playing a blockchain game that is, kind of a minuscule amount for first world countries, but could be more than their daily wage at whatever job they're working, like it could be huge. I think that there's a huge opportunity there for pushing play to earn games in places besides the United States. And I think there are just really great opportunities there. So I want to keep all this gamified and fun and make it as enjoyable as possible. And then sort of the last element of my larger carnival ecosystem is another game. I don't know if you're familiar with rage rooms, but basically they're places where people can go to smash stuff. And this whole CryptoCannoneer concept sort of was birthed as sort of the quarantine version of a rage room. So I'm going to be upgrading the tennis ball cannon to a golf ball cannon that can smash through bottles and picture frames and just really be destructive. And I hope that that's going to be sort of the premium offering that won't be free to play. That'll be like one of the primary places where people can spend Turret token, is to play the break time version of the golf ball gun. But I want to have the regular in-person rage room as well as part of my arcade, barcade carnival experience. So I really am trying to build out a large ecosystem here. And so hopefully people can see the potential for that and vote for me for this funding for Stellar, and they can get involved in this. And then once again, this all relates back to the ARC funding that we have here in Arizona by utilizing the near field communication hardware wallet for blockchain, so that you can use blockchain and specifically Stellar for paying for merchandise or food and drink or whatever you in person. You know, it won't be that aspect of it won't be limited to just, you know, my barcade. That type of framework will be applicable to any live event or any in-person point of sale for any type of business. And I think that there's a lot of potential there, and I would like to keep all of that open source and make that available to the community and anybody who wants to incorporate Stellar into their business. So I really am hopeful that I can get this funding. And, you know, my ask is pretty small, 20 grand between the two projects compared to the over $1 million that's available and some of these bigger projects that are asking for $250,000. So I am optimistic and hopeful. So please check it out at communityfund.stellar.org and on the Stellar Community Fund Discord, which the link is right here. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this stream. I hope you learned something. And please give us some feedback, you know, on YouTube or on the meetup group or on Desert Blockchain's Patreon, and let us know what else you want to see and what you want to see in future streams.
Very cool.
Go ahead. Thank you very much. And go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, Shane. That's really, really awesome. And I think you've touched upon some points that could be leveraged in the Arizona Blockchain Applied Research Center's matching funds, as well as the Arizona Wearables Applied Research Center's matching funds. And that's the point of these Saturday sessions, is to bring the community together, form teams. We're early in the process. If you don't know, the actual applications for the 2021 funds will open on September 25th. We are having a session on September 22nd in the evening, which will showcase teams that have formed, folks that are interested in applying. And so that's your opportunity out of participating in these Saturday sessions. So at this point, we're going to have a lunch break. So the folks that are gathered here in Desert Blockchain Camp can have some pizza. Pizza's provided, by the way, and we'll kind of socialize, talk. And then at 1 o'clock, we will resume the session, and I'll be doing a presentation on the Arizona Blockchain and Wearables Applied Research Center's matching funding. And we'll be talking about some of the folks that have already indicated their interest in participating. So be sure to return for that and go have some lunch wherever you're at, and join us again at 1 p.m. Arizona and Pacific time. I'm going to stop the screen share. Shane is operating the target range right now. So there we go.
Already.
We're going to be on video. And
Okay, well, I'm gonna see the line side. There's a pizza in the line side.
okay, it is 1 o'clock and we're going to resume our session. So I will stop screen sharing. And if you're just tuning in to this portion, my name is Jay Carpenter. I'm the founder of Desert Blockchain, and we are at Desert Blockchain Camp. And this is part of our, what we're calling the ARC Open House, which stands for Applied Research Centers Open House. And check my audio real quick. Yeah, we're good. So if you didn't see the beginning of this session, and we're just coming off the lunch break, by the way, but if you didn't see the beginning of this session, we had a presentation by Shane Sandler of CryptoCannoneer, and he was talking about the StellarRed and creating non-fungible tokens on the Stellar network, as well as how all of that might fit into the Applied Research Centers program. And let me just kind of mention what the program is. The state of Arizona, the legislature has allocated for 2021 $5 million in matching funds, half of which goes to is earmarked for blockchain projects. The other half is earmarked for wearables projects, and some folks are coming in now. So the period for the applications for these funds will open on September 25th. On September 22nd, we will be having an evening session where any teams that have formed that would like to announce their projects, their interests, or other, if they need additional team members, on the 22nd of September, you're invited to come and participate in that session. If you're a team or you're looking for a team, and basically say what you're interested in related to creating a project that basically has about a 2-year scope to not only research, but also create some sort of product or project that actually has commercial viability. And that's really the key to the attraction of this. So there is, by the way, another $500,000 that's a carryover from the 2019 first round of the Applied Research Centers initiative, and that's available as well. That has a little shorter time horizon on it, but those are some of the things that we'll be talking about on the 22nd. Every Saturday between now and the end of October, at least, and maybe beyond, we'll be having these sessions where people that are interested in working on one of these projects or announcing a project that they're interested in sort of spearheading, you can come or you can join virtually these sessions and basically connect with other people that have that might fit into the project. So let me shift over to a presentation that we're going to use to kind of tie all this stuff together. And we start at the beginning. So there's a link to this presentation in below the YouTube session, the live stream that you're watching now, whether it's a recording or whether you're watching this from live, basically. But this is the first slide in the presentation, and it highlights the September 22nd session, which you can sign up on meetup.com under Desert-Blockchain. And this is the actual session that we're in today, and we are past our lunch break, but you can find out the links also are available in the meetup session. This was our session from last week, and we have a recording where we had some folks that introduced themselves and mentioned what they're interested in associated with the Applied Research Centers. So you can review that, and that was on August the 28th. So feel free to do that. But the rest of the presentation, the rest of the presentation that's complete primarily focuses on the people that are interested in working on a Applied Research Centers project. So first is Shane Sandler, who did the earlier presentation on StellarRed and the CryptoCannoneer target range. And you can see Shane's sort of video introduction from last week. We haven't put the time segments on the recording yet, but we will. Anyway, Shane is a mechanical engineer, undergraduate, has an MBA from Arizona State, both degrees from Arizona State. He has done an amazing job of putting together this CryptoCannoneer project, and he's very well versed in the Stellar network as well as cryptocurrency wallets, the interplanetary file system, and so forth. So Shane will be a regular part of the conversation from this point forward. So if you're interested, you can connect with Shane on LinkedIn, or you can come to one of the open houses next week, which will be September the 11th, Saturday from 11 a.m. Arizona time and Pacific time to 2 p.m. So there's one participant. And by the way, obviously, if you have an interest in participating in one of these Applied Research Centers projects, then you should come by, let me know, and you can basically apply to put your name into the area of interested parties and possibly set up a profile on this presentation. So the second person that's in the presentation is Eric Schedler, and Eric was on the panel from August the 25th when we did the real estate and blockchain session. And Eric has a wealth of experience in the crowdfunding and investment markets. He led a very successful electronics company at one time, Go Video, and he's active in the entrepreneurship and angel funding realms in the state of Arizona. And he's primarily interested in real estate, doing something in blockchain and real estate, and utilizing and leveraging the ARC funds, the Applied Research Centers. So the next one is Aranga Krishnan, and Ranga has a lot of experience in blockchain and supply chain. I believe he has a degree from MIT, and he is also part of the Fibri global network of real estate and blockchain. And he was part of the presentation on the 25th of August as well, and did a segment on unique object identifiers. And he's got a link next to his profile here. You can see how those work, or you can watch our session from the 25th of August on real estate and blockchain. But he is interested in participating in the real estate realm for the ARC funding, and I'm sure he might join us today on the Zoom, but if he doesn't, then we'll definitely get him on one of the next few Saturday sessions. So, Ranga is definitely a resource that I think could add to the strength of any team. Next is Shah, who actually is here, and she goes by Shah. And she also has a very impressive academic set of experience in big data and blockchain, working in the academic realm. And she's also interested in IoT, and she introduced herself last week at the session that we had. I think it was on the 28th of August. And you can see her brief introduction on that video as well. And she's regularly attended and plans to attend the open houses here live and in person, and she's here today. So that's basically it. Personally, I'll stop screen sharing for just a moment. Personally, I have a great deal of experience in blockchain, and I've taught a blockchain course at the University of Advanced Technology and in blockchain, cybersecurity, and the Internet of Things. But I'm planning to basically act as a facilitator in this initiative, and I don't plan to be part of any one initiative. So, but I am committed to seeing this initiative be successful so that we can build and fund some relevant blockchain communities and sub-communities and talent here in the state of Arizona. So that's my role in this realm. So let me quickly go through the presentation to the end. It's still in a draft mode, let's say, but there was a recent Forbes article from Philip Sandler of Germany, and we'll have that posted here. But I thought it was a really good summary of where things are at with blockchain and DeFi, decentralized finance, and so forth. We will have the Fibri real estate and blockchain report, which is also posted currently on our bi-weekly update. There was a recent article that appeared regarding why real estate and non-fungible tokens are very well suited for one another, and we'll have that article here as well. I do think it would be valuable to set up some pro forma budgets so that people can have a little better understanding as to how some of these projects, some of these teams might work, and so that teams that are interested in applying could actually submit a pro forma budget to the Arizona Commerce Authority and get some initial feedback just to make sure that they're on target regarding, what qualifies for the ARC program and what doesn't. So we'll also add a spreadsheet with some community data that sort of consolidates the community participation as well. We'll plan to have a GitHub set of repositories so that if people want to contribute code, share code, they can do so. We'll probably launch a Slack or an Element communications channel so that people can have an open communication throughout this project and throughout the time period when we're looking at forming teams and so forth and fielding indications of interest. And we'll also detail in this presentation some potential areas of research like real estate and blockchain. We had a great conversation over lunch about the potential to combine space exploration, space satellite tracking, and actually the operation of blockchains in space. So there's actually some projects underway that combine blockchain with space exploration and space technology. So we'll add a timeline and, just to give people some guidance on what sort of timing we're talking about. We welcome guest comments and we'll have some workshops. I would like to invite some of the corporate folks that might be interested in forming a team or being part of a team. I plan to invite them to join us via Zoom so that they can kind of introduce themselves and the company and state whatever area of interest they would like to pursue with an ARC program. So one of the areas that I'm sure we will focus upon is real estate. So just to take real estate as an example, the term real estate is actually pretty broad. And an ARC project could be formed around lending, around brokerage services, the Internet of Things and investments, title, insurance, rentals, Airbnb, rental using some sort of blockchain enhanced service, services such as repair, security, and inspection services, that sort of thing. Public administration might be interested in studying some sort of blockchain project where there's some sort of service that could be created utilizing blockchain technology that might enhance public administration, such as zoning and who knows what, maybe building permits, that sort of thing. Nonprofits, definitely the Arizona Applied Research Centers encourages the participation of nonprofits in these teams, as well as healthcare. Healthcare participation and involvement is a key area that the folks that are administering the ARC program are interested in seeing participation. Education, there could be some component of education coming from an ARC project, don't know. Maybe religious organizations that are, churches are definitely part of every community, every neighborhood, and it's certainly feasible in my view that we could have participation in some of these ARC projects by religious organizations. Sports and recreation, definitely recreation, parks, flying of drones, who knows what. That's something that might be woven into an ARC project. We don't know. These are just sort of like brainstorming ideas and nothing's cast in stone, but this particular list is just designed to start to spark some ideas among the community. So that's pretty much it for the presentation. I'm going to stop the screen share and basically there's a few people on the live stream. I don't have anybody else on Zoom, but I do welcome anybody for next week. If you're interested in participating and you can't be here in person or you'd prefer to participate virtually, then reach out to me, jcarpenter@desertblockchain.com, and we'll see if we can create a way for you to participate via the Zoom and introduce yourself and so forth. So that's about all I have for today, and we're gonna well, let me ask the folks here before we sign off if they have an interest in saying anything or making any comments before we sign off. Okay, so I canvassed the folks that are here in person, and they have either commented last week or they don't have any comments, at least for the live stream. So we are going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for your time and your attention. And we're going to spend some time here at Desert Blockchain Camp talking informally among ourselves about the ARC program. And I do invite you to attend if you can next week. And again, every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we'll be having these sessions at least until the end of October. So thank you for your time and attention and watching this. And please, reach out to me, jcarpenter@desertblockchain.com. If you're interested in, coming on and saying something about your interest in applying for the ARC funds with a team. So that's it. Thanks. And we look forward to connecting with you on one of the weekends or on the 22nd of September, when we'll have our evening session at 7 p.m. Arizona time, and which is also 7 p.m. Pacific time. So thanks and enjoy the rest of your day.